Okay, I decided to make this video because recently I've been trying to look at designs for like a brewing station design or like a automatic brewing station, but a lot of the problems I see is they just use like a lot of hoppers in a line like this, and then you'll have the input of the ingredients just go along in the line and go one by one, sort of like an item sorter. But to me that just takes up too much resources. Or you'll have them see them stacked up like this with just more hoppers and chests, and they'll have them like in a huge array, just side by side. And to me that's also like a lot of resources to use. I'm just playing like a single player world. I don't want to try to make an industrial brewing station that'll feed 1,000 players at once. I'm just one guy. I don't need all that. So I started making my own design, trying to make it smaller, compact. This is my first design. Obviously it's kind of smaller. Okay, and just using an observer to detect this redstone line, and obviously it sends that signal up into these droppers. This is what I call a free fall design, where they don't fall into hoppers, rather they just free fall in the air like the name suggests. And obviously this is where the water bottles are. There's no automatic filling up of blaze powder. I'll just have a stack, or maybe like just some blaze powder, because even just one piece of blaze powder can brew several sets of potions at once. So that's the material that you'll be resupplying the least if you have one of these set up. So basically, yeah, like once these are taken out, it obviously gets refilled by this. Then you flick that. Obviously they will get rid of that. Obviously they will fall in one by one in the proper order. Nether wart obviously goes on the bottom, feeding into that hopper, and then whatever you want, like the magma cream for fire resistance. It can be any potion you need. Then obviously that would go by and brew that fire resistant potion. I haven't found a problem with this yet, with this free fall design, because items fall at the same speed. This is on top, so it's gonna reach the bottom last, and obviously this is gonna be reaching before the top one because it's right there. But the problem with this is, I wanted it to just a single block space, so I went ahead and did this design. Just move the chest up a bit, not the chest, the barrel. Same concept. Take these out. Now it fits in there. And when you hit this lever, the observer detects that. Well, you just got to flick this one, so you don't have to flick it up and down. It just changes the signal change in that redstone, obviously, and that sends a block update redstone to that torch and to this torch, obviously, and this repeater right here will power all three of these droppers. I'm sorry. If I sound tired, it's because I am. I just woke up at, I don't even know when. When did I sleep last? Anyway. Yeah, same concept. Obviously the bottom one will reach the bottom first. The middle one will reach it next, and then obviously the top one will reach it last. In that specific order. So you can just take them out one at a time. I've seen some where it'll just take them out automatically, but like I said, I'm not trying to make an industrial brewing station for like 1,000 players. I'm just trying to make something small for me and myself, my survival world, And then this is what it would look like if I were to make like tiles of it, I guess you can call them, just side by side. Just different potions, potion stands, different ingredients, or you can just make multiple of the same kind. Doesn't really matter. And if you needed to, you can just hook something up to this redstone, like a lever and repeaters, and then just make a flick of the switch and have them all activate at once if you need to. It's a fairly simple design. Takes up much less resources. Only 2 hoppers and a barrel, and obviously 1 observer. And if you wanted to build this for yourself, obviously you need a brewing stand, a barrel, 1 redstone repeater, 2 hoppers, 2 redstone torches, 3 droppers. Make sure they're droppers. 3 redstone dust, 6 building blocks, can be any solid building block, 9 wooden trapdoors, can be any trapdoor except for iron trapdoors, and then 1 observer and then 1 lever. Okay, now go ahead and start this off. Just dig 3 blocks out like this, take 3 redstone dust and place them right here, place an observer facing up, make sure the red dot is facing up, then go ahead and place 2 blocks like this, and make sure you get your lever and place right here. Place your brewing stand, place a hopper funneling into that brewing stand, place a barrel on top, place another hopper on top of there, just 1, and then place 3 droppers directly on top of that barrel, all on top of each other. Make sure they're both all facing outwards. Then take 3 temporary blocks right there. Then get your trapdoors and place them on the sides. And then make sure they're all closed. This is just to prevent the items from flying everywhere when they dispense. You can break those temporary blocks. Then place a block up here, redstone torch, another block, another redstone torch, another block like this, redstone repeater facing into there, and then another block on top, and that's pretty much it. Obviously you're going to need a whole bunch of water bottles to fill this barrel up, but I feel like those aren't too hard to get. You can probably build a machine to automatically fill up water bottles for you. And obviously you got to keep an eye on the blaze powder, but that'll be the amount you're supplying the least, because like I said earlier, a bunch of one blaze powder can refill a bunch of potions at once. And that's pretty much it, basically. It's not like the most efficient or grand design out there, but I felt like it's a better, more cost-effective design than the ones I've seen on YouTube. So, hopefully you found this helpful. If you have any suggestions or comments about this, feel free to comment below, and I'll see you in the next one.